Fellas, it is the morning of probably the weirdest fight card that's ever been put together. Jake El Gallo, the problem child Paul, is facing off against Iron Mike Tyson tonight on Netflix. How the fuck did we get here? Is this a simulation? I do not know, but I got my Iron Mike t-shirt on. You know where my allegiances lie. That being said, I am no Jake hater. I do hope he gets knocked out, but that's only because I have such an affinity for Mike Tyson. The things that Jake Paul has been able to do in the sport of boxing has been nothing short of special. Him and Logan. I mean, Logan fought Floyd. Jake's fighting Mike Tyson right now. How is this fucking possible, what these two brothers have managed to do? But truthfully, the king in the ring when it comes to the Paul family is Jake Paul. Since entering the arena, he's been nothing short of special. From knocking out Nate Robinson to Ben Askren to Tyron Woodley, slept him in one of the most disgusting fashions I've ever seen. Sitting down Anderson Silva. Finally, we see a chink in his armor when he faces off against Tommy Fury. Maybe the boxer is his kryptonite. Then he goes out and rolls Nate Diaz in a unanimous decision. People were saying he can't hang with boxers, so he takes a boxer, Andre August. 10-0, people forget that. They put respect on Tommy. They put respect on that loss, but they don't put respect on these two wins. Andre August, Ryan Borland, two boxers, 10-0, 17-1 going into that fight. Both got KO'd in the first round. Then he finally gets the bag. Everything was building up to this. He gets the bag. The Mike Tyson fight is in his hands, scheduled for July 20th on Netflix, who has just entered the combat sports arena. Mike Tyson falls out with an ulcer. What does Jake do? He doesn't wait around. He fights Mike Perry. The fucking cojones on this guy to take a fight when he's got the biggest bag sitting in front of his face, a monumental card on a platform that's never hosted a combat sports event, takes a fight against Mike Perry. We always play revisionist history with Jake, like, oh, of course he beat that guy. But it seems like every step of the way, it was like, oh, Nate's an athlete. Oh, Ben Askren's a fighter. Oh, Tyron's finally got hands. Oh, he's finally facing a striker. Every step of the way, this kid has been doubted, and he has yet to give in. It's really fucking incredible. If you're hating on Jake Paul still, if you still think these fights are fixed or whatever the fuck you're making up in your mind, I just want you to look yourself in the mirror today and admit that you are a hater, because this kid has done something special. That being said, we're talking about Iron freaking Mike Tyson. We're talking about the baddest man on the planet. And if you saw him last night at the weigh-in show, dude looks like a brick shithouse. I mean, he really does look incredible. For 58 years old, and we'll talk about that. We can look at the tail of the tape. That is the equalizer here. Iron Mike Tyson is 58 years old. Jake Paul just 27. There all the other stuff, you can look at it. 44 knockouts, 56 bouts compared to 11-7. Yeah, it doesn't matter. The number that people are talking about leading up to this fight, the real questions that we have surrounding this fight, come down to age. Who would have ever thought Jake Paul would be a favorite against Mike Tyson? And that's the only reason this fight makes sense, is because of the age. If prime Mike Tyson was stepping in the ring right now with Jake Paul, he should run. He should run as far and as fast as he can, because Mike will rip his head off. But because he's a little bit older, 31 years to be exact, this fight, I'm not saying it makes sense. It's still a circus show. But there's questions to be had. There's a piece of you teeter-tottering in your mind. It's the thing that makes this fight interesting. I don't think anybody has questions about what we're going to see from Jake Paul. The questions are surrounding Mike Tyson. How does he look? From the training footage, he looks good, but those are only in spurts. You know, it's not like we saw him spar for 8 rounds like the fight's going to be. So we just don't know. How long can he hold it up? Does he still have the speed, the power, the agility, the reflexes to dodge a 27-year-old that's been busting his ass for the last 5 years? Technically, of course, Mike Tyson is the better boxer. But has the age caught up to him too much? If he makes it to the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the later rounds, does he still have the gas tank? Is his body still holding up? The mind will stay. All indications say the mind is still sharp for Mike Tyson, but can the body keep up with the mind? That is the question behind this fight. That's what makes this fight so interesting. And speaking of the weigh-in show, Mike Tyson slapped the fuck out of Jake Paul.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God, the theater there, man. Slapped the fuck out of Jake Paul. It was incredible. Pre-fight press conference, Mike was subdued, barely saying anything. Jake was doing all the talking. Mike was just like, talking's done, I'm here to fight. Then we get to the weigh-in show. Jake steps on his toe and slap the fuck out of him. And I don't think it hurt Jake. Jake took it on the chin like a fucking savage. Respect to him. The thing I think he's going to be thinking about when he looks back at that tape, and I'm sure he has a couple of times, is how fucking fast that hand came up. Jake did not even move a muscle. That's how fast Mike Tyson is. That's the thing that I think is going to be stuck in Jake's head as he went to bed last night is, holy shit, he's still pretty fast. How did I not react? How did I not see this? And I get it. It all happened so fast. I'm not saying I would have saw it or I would have got out of the way. But when you're going into a boxing match, you got to assume these guys' reflexes are on 100. He did not see that slap coming. I think he's going to be thinking about that. You know, that's part of the allure of Mike Tyson is he scares you before you even feel his power. His presence, his aura, that's the thing that makes Tyson scary. And Jake's just saw a little bit of that speed. The question is, how long can Mike keep it going? It's going to be fucking fun, man. One thing that I think is getting overlooked a little bit, and I touched on it briefly, is the fact that this is on Netflix. That's a big freaking deal. That is a big deal. I mean, they put out a 3-part documentary series before this fight, which was fantastic, by the way, if you haven't seen it. But if you think about it, like the UFC does something similar. They'll do the countdown series. They'll do the embedded series leading up to the fight. The reason they're doing that, the reason they're putting all this effort into that content is, of course, to push their fighters, but it's also so, as a fan, you get invested in these fights so that when the day comes, you're willing to put down that $79.99 or whatever the case may be for the pay-per-view. Netflix is free as long as you got an account. They gave you that entire documentary series, but now we have a free fight. The amount of eyeballs and attention that this is going to get actually live on Netflix, and then let's not even talk about the clips afterwards. If either guy gets a knockout, those clips are going to be nuclear. But the amount of eyeballs that this is going to get is going to be astronomical because you don't have to pull that money out. It's a real big wave in the way that combat sports is ran. And if Netflix is going to continue to do this with monster fights, like I could see the Riyadh season fitting right in, or even the UFC. Their contract is up next year. The WWE, which is under the same parent umbrella, has already signed with Netflix. We could see Netflix becoming a massive player in the world of combat sports, and this is kind of their testing ground right here. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. It's going to be a fan-fucking-tastic fight. I'm rooting for Mike, but honestly, I'm just here for the circus. It is a fun fight. I don't know how we got here, but I'm happy to be here. It is day of, and I am so freaking excited. Speaking of that Netflix show, one last thing. If they don't make a part 4 of that documentary series going through, you know, the press conference, the slap, the fight, and then post-fight, huge mistake. I really hope that part's coming because that'll be incredible. That's like the Conor doc. You're getting like a live Conor doc as the fight is happening. That'll be special. I hope that happens. But regardless, Mike Tyson and Jake Paul are fighting today. I don't know what to say. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive.